All right, welcome, good morning, and we'll call this meeting to order. Uh, Ross McDowell, would you do us the honor of leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Thank you very much, I would. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one country, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Commissioner District 1, Randy Netherland.
I'm here.
Commissioner District 2, Kevin Schutte.
Here.
Commissioner District 3, Sharon Trask.
I'm here.
Excellent. Welcome, everybody. So this is a special meeting of the Mason County Commission for Tuesday, June 29th. And the only thing we will be discussing on this is what's on the agenda. That's what you do for a special meeting. And on the agenda today is the considering of emergency restrictions on fireworks. Dave, are you?
Yes, I am here.
There you are. Dave, will you take this one, please?
All right, so we can kind of go through this. So yesterday we did meet with representatives of North Mason Fire, with DNR. We had a couple representatives there, emergency management, myself, and Commissioner Trask, to talk about this unprecedented weather we've had. 111 when I drove home after work last night. It's very hot, very dry. We had a very wet June, so we had a lot of grass and brush that grew up over the course of June, which is drying out rapidly now. And as we talked through things with the DNR and the fire folks, we felt that this met the requirement in our regulation, which is Mason Code 14.19.050, about limiting fireworks based on fire hazard. So our recommendation from the group was to the commissioners to restrict fireworks. We talked about it quite a bit. Do we do a complete ban? Do we do a partial ban? And where we landed was a ban on everything except from 6 p.m. Sunday on July 4th until midnight on July 4th. This does not restrict the sales of fireworks. In fact, we recommend that people, buy your fireworks and save them for New Year's, when fire damage will be substantially reduced. We have many of the players from that conversation on right now, as I'm looking around the room here. Sure that I'm not. Yeah, Matt Caldwell is there from DNR. Bo is there from North Mason Fire. And that's kind of the background, Commissioner. We have, we passed this ordinance back in, county code back in 2016 to allow us the ability to restrict fireworks if we have extraordinary fire weather conditions, and we felt that this kind of meets that. We do have moderating temperatures, but there is no precipitation in the foreseeable future.
Thank you. Is there any questions for staff regarding the presentation? If you have a question for staff, I'm going to start with the commissioners first. Commissioners, do you have questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a question. I'm not sure, maybe if Dave can answer this, or it's better suited for folks from the fire service, but what's your understanding of the risk of ignition and just sort of the moisture content and everything as it stands now, and kind of what are we up against as it relates to that?
Who would like to take that? If you would, just go ahead. If you're with the fire department or one of the chiefs or DNR, please unmute yourself and say your name so I can call on you.
Yeah, I can take that. This is Matt from Department of Natural Resources. So your question, just to confirm, was where are we at with the fuel moisture contents in relationship to fire spread? Right. I shared a link with the council, the meeting that we had yesterday, and the Chiefs Association a couple weeks ago with NFDRS maps and websites, which is what we use through Region 6, which is our Washington, Oregon, and Alaska, to kind of track our fuel moistures. And what we have in our central lowlands, which is what our area is for here, I actually have it pulled up. So right now, our fuel moisture content for the 1 hour fuels, which is like your dead twigs, sticks and twigs and stuff, is 7%. Our 10-hour fuels, which would be about the size of an index finger, are at 11%. And the 1-hour fuels would be, or the 100-hour fuels are at 16%, which is kind of like the size of a forearm. And then the 1,000-hour fuels, which is a larger dead and down trees, at 16%. And just to put that into context, a piece of notebook paper, it has a 3% fuel moisture content. So that's kind of what we're dealing with the dead and down fuels. Really, the only thing that is keeping us from going to a high fire danger, from my knowledge, is our live fuel moisture content. So there is still some live grass out there that is slowing down that ignition, that rapid spread. But we will still have fire spread, and it will be pushed depending on winds. But these, our fuel moisture is at a critical percentile. Everything is in the 90th. Our energy release component, which is the amount of energy that is actually released when the fuel is burning, the BTUs and everything like that, that's at the 99th percentile right now. And our spread component and ignition components are both at that 99th percentile. So they're about as high as you can get. Is there any more questions?
Thank you, Matt. Kevin, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's really helpful. And then another question is just kind of both on the DNR side and the local fire service side. What are your staffing levels looking like heading into the weekend, both locally and regionally?
I'll take it real quick. Our staffing level right now is at a 5, which is basically our highest staffing level that we have, based off the metrics that I just kind of read out. And that's the same across the state. We'll have the majority of our engines on shift. We will have helicopters in the area, and we are still working through the possibility of having more equipment and stuff brought in for standby. But that's yet to be determined from our agency.
Bo, can you weigh in for a second how you're doing in North Mason?
Yeah, so we actually, and we do that irregardless of kind of the fire danger for the 4th of July. Ours is a lot more based on the number of traffic and recreation we see, but we double our staffing Memorial Day, 4th of July weekend, and then Labor Day. And so it's good that that's happening, certainly with the weather, the conditions that we've seen. I believe we have 11 different fire districts in Mason County. Most all of them will be up staffing throughout the weekend. I don't know if it'll be quite doubling the way we are, but most all of them will be on point and up staffing. And so we should be looking good going into the weekend. But, you know, what helps with the compromise here of, you know, in the event that it is kind of kept to this very small window, is the fact that it can really kind of focus the fire attention on one particular day, more so than the 5 or 6 days that are allowed for firework shooting. And that's just kind of a rough guess, because I think we know even with a ban going in place, we're going to have some folks that are setting off fireworks. So it still would cause us to up staff irregardless, but it just helps, you know, anything we can do to keep the fire activity down will be greatly appreciated.
Okay, Central Mason, would you like to comment for a moment? And now please remember, this is just the question from the commission. You'll be given an opportunity to testify if you'd like in a bit.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Patty, Fire Chief. Just to echo what Chief Bakken said, we too are very concerned about the dry conditions and what the last few days of extreme hot weather have done to the conditions. I too favor a ban on the fireworks, at least for 2021. Even though it's probably going to do maybe a bit to curb the discharge, at least give us an avenue to enforce or recover in the event that we have any damages. And at least put the citizens on notice that we're trying to do something to curb the issues that in hand with the dry weather. And there is a lot of concern from the citizens about the 4th of July with the weather and the heat that we've been experiencing. So I would like to also encourage a ban on the fireworks, at least for 21. Thank you.
Chief, how about your staffing levels?
We're going to bring on at least one additional crew to staff up a brush rig and a medic unit. And we're also going to put a medic unit up in the north area of the county, up in the Lake Cushman area, to staff for any additional EMS issues that happen typically up in the Cushman Hoodsport area, like we've done in years past.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioner Schutte, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, just one more. Apologize. I appreciate everybody's patience here. So, as we consider this, if you come across, discharges outside of the window that we're considering, what's your process for referring those to the sheriff's office or whoever to take enforcement action?
Is this directed to me, Commissioner?
Yeah, Mike, let's go with you first.
If we have any fireworks related incidents, of course, we're going to do the typical fire investigation report. We would ask MACECOM for a sheriff's incident report, which would normally give us a deputy to come to the scene and give us a sheriff's incident report. And then that report would, our fire investigation report would be transferred over to the sheriff for their investigation and further action.
Commissioner Schutte, does that answer your question? Or
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Trask, do you have any questions? Regarding the presentation that was given.
Right. Well, I was in the discussion that we had yesterday. Can one of you also address what the U.S. Forest Service, what restrictions they have going on?
Matt, you want to take that one?
Yeah, as far as my knowledge, the U.S. Forest Service is they're at a moderate. I believe they are still allowing recreational fires, and I do not believe fireworks are allowed on Forest Service ground. But I cannot speak for that agency specifically. That's just kind of, I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. When it comes to setting our fire danger rating statuses and stuff like that, when we go to moderate or low to moderate or high, it's a conversation between all land management agencies. So when we go to that, so we're pretty much in lockstep with the Forest Service when it comes down to being able to make the burn restrictions and burn bans. It's a little easier with our agency because we only have one agency to work with, or one state. With the Forest Service, when they go into that banning and restricting stuff, it's a lot longer process. But I'm pretty sure that they're working on it. And I don't think fireworks are allowed anywhere on Forest Service ground. I know for the DNR, specifically, it is prohibited to have any fireworks or explosive devices like exploding targets ignited or used on any DNR protection. So with that being said, what DNR protection is all, when it comes to Mason County specifically, is all unimproved properties within Mason County. That's including industrial timberlands, that's including unimproved pieces of private property and parcels within the county, anything that is paying into the FFPA tax, which is the Forest Patrol Assessment Tax.
Do you have any other questions, Commissioner Trask?
No.
Okay, now I will give an opportunity to others that may have a question regarding the presentation that was given. Again, if you want to testify and give your opinion, this is not the place. You'll be given an opportunity to do that. But if you have a question regarding the presentation that was just given, please raise your hand on the participants and I will call on you first. Ross McDowell.
Right. Good morning, commissioners and everybody. Just wanted to let you know that I'm fortunate enough to be the duty officer on for emergency management over the 4th of July and over this week. And we are also ramping up that if we do have any kind of a fire that goes on, I will be activated and help out with all the fire departments themselves on the coordination through state EMD. So that's another thing that we have up and going. National Weather Service has extended the heat warning through tonight at 11 p.m. And there is no forecast of any relief through the whole weekend into next week.
Thank you. Is there anybody that has a question for the staff and those that have presented? If so, please raise your hand on the chat and participants. I don't see any, so I will also give you the opportunity now to unmute yourself, and please just say your name and wait for me to call on you, and I'll be giving you the opportunity to ask a question at that time. So if you'd like to unmute yourself and say your name, I'll call on you. Hearing none, we're going to, pardon me?
This is Herb Gerhardt. I do have a comment.
Oh, hi, Herb. Go ahead.
I had to rush back in because I was out walking the dog.
Well, Herb, is this a comment or a question regarding the presentation? We haven't gotten to the comment section yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening well.
Well, that's all right. All right. Is there anybody, we're just about to though, is there anybody who would like to ask any questions regarding the presentation? Again, please unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. All right, then next we're going to go ahead and allow you the opportunity to testify before the commission. Herb, I'm going to let you go first.
Okay. I read up on this and I'm aware of it, and I want to make the commission, I'm not for or against it, but I want to make the commissioners aware of the economic impact that you may be creating here, because there's lots of kids and activities that are relying on the funding. And to have sales and have them hold the stuff, that's not realistic. If they buy the stuff, they're going to blow it up now. If they don't buy it, then it's an impact to the economy. Also, the law enforcement aspect. The sheriff is, I'm speaking for myself here, not for any agencies, but the sheriff, from my point of view, the sheriff cannot enforce a ban on fireworks. They can hardly keep up with the regular calls, and on this holiday weekend, they're going to be burdened with numerous calls that they're going to have trouble responding to in a timely manner, and fireworks just adds a burden to it on top of that. So I keep that in mind, and as I say during my DNR stuff always is, don't make rules where you're going to punish the good people. The ones that aren't going to abide by the rules, they don't care. You can make all the rules you want because there's no real consequences on them not following the rules. But like I say, my main concern is I don't think you can enforce the issue. I don't think it's that much of a problem, but I'll let you make up your mind as to should it be or shouldn't it be. That's what you're being paid for. I'm just giving you my 2 cents worth. I'm done.
Thank you. Next up, I see a hand, Brian Smith. Brian, you're still muted. If you don't mind, unmute and tell us who you are and perhaps where you're from.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman Netherland. I hadn't planned on speaking today. I did communicate with Commissioner Schutte over the weekend. I'm not here speaking for the Lake Limerick Homeowners Association, but I am the president. They have not, we have not passed a resolution to talk to you about this, but I did inform Commissioner Schutte that we have adopted an emergency declaration and resolution to prohibit the discharge of both consumer and non-consumer fireworks within the confines of the Lake Limerick Country Club community. Now, as I'm sure you all remember, we have more than 1,100 homes concentrated in about a square mile, which is a pretty heavy concentration of folks. And we are forested. Most lots are forested. We recognized what's been already mentioned before, the extremely hot weather. We also have a couple of things going on with our water system. We had 2 pumps fail over the last several weeks, and we've replaced one of those booster pumps, but we still have a main pump in well 5, which hasn't been replaced. That's part of the problem. We have another problem with our fire hydrant system. Of course, most of Mason County doesn't have fire hydrants in rural areas. We do, but they're all bagged, and they're all bagged for a couple of reasons. We found out during a fire about a year ago that we have sudden pressure drops in the system, which is both a threat to the integrity of the system, and it's also a threat of contamination. We've been working with Chief Patty to look at other solutions. The chief has positioned a tanker truck, pre-positioned a tanker truck at Lake Limerick. That works well as long as that tanker truck isn't being called off to go someplace else. So we recognize that we have not only extremely higher fire risk and fire spread risk, but we also have reduced ability from what we thought we had to have fire suppression. That we consider to be a threat in the community. As a result, we passed that resolution. What that resolution does, we were talking about enforcement just a second ago, it does give us the ability to, and what we did was we declared that the use of consumer and non-consumer fireworks represents a noxious and nuisance activity. Strange wording, but what that does is it becomes a violation of our Declaration of Restrictions, or the old CC&Rs, and it allows us to impose fines. It allows us to declare members to be not in good standing, which means we can deny services. And technically speaking, that includes water. And it allows us to take additional legal action if we must. We're taking this very seriously. As I'm sure you all know, it also means that we've also had the folks that are starting to light up the torches and the pitchforks. They're not happy about not being able to discharge fireworks, particularly folks that come down here from their homes elsewhere where they can't discharge fireworks and typically have huge shows on Lake Limerick. And that's been shown on Facebook for years. If they burn their place down, they lose a recreational spot. I lose my house, and a lot of other people lose their houses. So we perceived as a board that the threat was real. We can enforce. We also have the ability to enforce as a nuisance or noxious condition anytime someone breaks the law. So if the county were to pass some kind of a ban on non-consumer fireworks and someone violates that either with the already illegal fireworks or the consumer fireworks, that's a prima facie violation of the CC&Rs. It does give us some enforcement. It sounds like most of this enforcement will be after the fact, but if somebody's staring at $1,000 fine, which is what we would impose, it makes them think twice. Now, the folks that have invested 20,000 or more bucks for the huge displays, they might just laugh that off. Some of the other folks that tend to be a little bit less careful about what they do might be concerned about it and might just stop. The last thing I'll add is that, as you probably know, Thurston County has actually banned the use of consumer fireworks through July 5th. I was in the Olympian this morning. So I would urge you to consider a ban. It's hard to enforce, but it will discourage some folks, and it does give others of us a little bit of backing and certainly the ability to do some enforcement later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. Is there anybody else who would like to testify at this moment about their position on this issue? I do not see any other hands up, so I will give you the opportunity now to unmute yourself, say your name, and I will call on you. Don't speak, just say your name, and I will call on you. Is there anybody who would like to testify that is not spoken yet? Unmute yourself, and I will give you the opportunity. I see none. Hearing none, we will go ahead and go right into commissioner deliberations and or a motion if they so choose. Commissioners, who'd like to go first?
Well, if you want, I'll jump in here. The meeting that we had yesterday was very informative. I truly appreciate the DNR being there, Chief Bakken, Ross, everybody that was there. Great conversation. And this is not just a Mason County decision. We had a meeting with Wasatch, the Association of Counties, yesterday at noon as well. And every county is concerned about the fire, the risk danger, the fire danger. But we're also very proud of our nation's history and what the 4th of July represents. And we wanted to give everyone the opportunity to be able to celebrate, but do it in a wise manner. And so that's why we came up with the recommendation to the board.
Commissioner Schutte, would you like to speak?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my initial reaction is to would have been to implement a full set of restrictions throughout the duration. I'm not going to present that in opposition to the fire chief's recommendations. Ultimately, I trust the fire chiefs to know what they can and can't handle. This is obviously a high risk period of time in our county, in our region, in our state. And so moving forward with the restrictions and the exceptions to that being the time period that's outlined here by the group yesterday, just ask people to be good neighbors, be thoughtful, be thoughtful not only of your neighbors and their property and their right to their life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness to maintain maintain their property in a safe manner, but also be thoughtful about our firefighters who ultimately will have to go out there and address these issues, and it's their lives that are on the line. And so just ask people to be good neighbors, be respectful. To Herb's point, we're never going to be able to, pass a law that, we're going to be able to enforce 100% of the time. And they do tend to fall, on people who are law abiding. Your criminals tend to be the ones that are going to break the law because of their own issues, and that's their approach to life. But that hasn't stopped us from passing other really meaningful laws in our country because we want to say that certain things are inappropriate. And so that's never a good reason to not take action. And I think this shows a compromise. But just ask people to be respectful and be thoughtful this weekend. It's hot. Everybody wants to get out and have fun. But be thinking about the other people that have to come in and handle the situation when things go sideways.
Thank you. And I myself, I agree with everything we've been discussing here and what the chiefs have brought forward. A full ban on the sale of fireworks actually creates its own problem, and I want to share that with the commission and the public. If you ban the safe and sane fireworks, they will only go to the tribal lands and purchase ones that are not necessarily safe and sane. So you'll accidentally create a bigger problem than you were trying to stop. And although I agree, the dishonest person will not follow this law or this restriction, the honest person will. And I'll tell you, if honest people can create fires accidentally as well, you don't have to just be a criminal to create a fire. So the less people that do it because they do take this restriction seriously, the better position we will be in. As it was said, we're actually in a moderate state, but all of us know in our gut right now, after this hot time we just went through, we know that there's a danger that just may not show on paper yet. So with that, I think this restriction of just keeping it down to 1 day for this year and this time only, and still allow for the sales to continue is a smart, wise action. That's if somebody will make a motion. Any commissioner interested in making a motion? I will.
Mr. Chair, I move that we prohibit the discharge of fireworks except from the hours of 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. Sunday, July 4th, 2021.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to restrict the discharge of fireworks in Mason County, during this summer period, except for the time period of 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. on July 4th. Any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just one quick item.
Dave, normally I wouldn't call any because we're in the middle of a deliberation, and once it's given to the commissioners, is there a piece that's missing? Okay, good. Commissioner Shooty, would you mind?
If I could, Commissioner, if we do 12 p.m., we probably should use the term midnight to be clear.
Okay, 12 p.m. midnight. Go ahead, Commissioner Shooty.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that we also include in the resolution. So I'm going to rescind my second first off and back us out, and so we can clarify the motion with the appropriate time. But also the second part of the therefore on our resolution is an important one. It does not include licensed and insured commercial displays of fireworks. That's really important for some of the bigger displays that are happening outside of this time frame that are highly regulated and professionally done. So just going to rescind my second.
Would you like me to amend my motion?
I think that'd be fantastic.
Okay, I'll do that. All right. I move that we prohibit the discharge of fireworks except from the hours of 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, Sunday, July 4th, 2021. This prohibition does not include licensed and uninsured commercial displays of fireworks.
Did you mean licensed and insured?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. I hear a second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for the restriction on fireworks, the use of fireworks from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight on July 4th, and that this restriction does not include licensed and insured commercial shows. Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are at the end of our agenda. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. Hearing no objection, we are adjourned. Have a nice day, everybody. Happy 4th.
Hey, Randy, before you go, was the motion stated correctly? I thought she said we're banning fireworks from 6 to midnight.
No.
Except for.
Banning the banning the use of fireworks.
Except for.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't catch the except part.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
Other
want to
than that,
clarify.
we are adjourned, everybody. Have a great day.